to the feet. That's when the Lord told me to jump to my feet. Cause I had blessings that were right in my reach. I had to usher in his presence of peace. Almost forgot about.
Hey, my name's Sam, and I'm sitting in Kansas prison doing life, and we're part of this project where we're speaking to at-risk youth. And you may wonder why we chose a passage from the Bible to speak about a way for you to be successful at life and no longer have the stigma of at-risk youth. It's because we believe that God knows more than us. So we listen to what he is saying. And 1 Corinthians 13:11, he says, when I was a child, I talked like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put childish ways behind me. Albert Barnes says this means the knowledge which we now have compared with that which we shall have in heaven is like that which is possessed in infancy. Compared with that we have in manhood. And as when we advance in years, we lay aside as unworthy of our attention the views, feelings, and plans which we had in boyhood, and which we then esteem to be of so great importance. So when we reach heaven, we shall lay aside the views, feelings, and plans which we have in this life, and which we now esteem so wise and valuable. Right now, we do not see things perfectly, and that's why we use and trust the words of God to guide us through this life. That's how we become a man. This growth into maturity only happens by listening to God, period. The consequences of not listening don't just apply to drinking and drugs, but every part of your life. You will reap what you sow. However, if you choose to drive and drug and all the consequences of the law, they start out small and they're annoying, but they become life-altering the longer you refuse to listen. If you can understand right now, you can choose to do the right thing on your own, or the law will force you to never choose anything. They'll make all your choices for you, and you won't like any of them. My mom always said, if the devil showed you the end, you wouldn't do what you're doing. I didn't listen, and now I'm doing life in the joint. But it started out with just petty crimes. But maybe you'll be wise and listen to my mom and know the path you're on doesn't end well at all. That path is greatly determined by your friends. It says that bad company corrupts good behavior. The most important decision you make is who you choose to be your friends. My dad always says, always choose your friends. Never let your friends choose you. And for a season, it's okay to be lonely for some time while you choose the people you want to have in your life. It's not a decision that you have to rush. And make sure it's a place you want to be. Anytime you jump in a car with friends, it's the destination that they choose. That's the ride you're going to be going on. And I jumped in a car over 16 years ago, and I went someplace that I don't want to be. But I made that choice, and you'll have to make that choice too. Decisions you make will impact you far into your future. You don't want to be me. I didn't want to be like my Uncle Wally, so I stayed away from heroin. I stayed away from heroin because when I was 14, I remember going to a nursing home where I picked my Uncle Wally up. He was stiff as a board and lying in a bed for almost 30 years from using too much heroin. I remember putting him into the front seat of my Aunt Mary's van so he could go on a ride. He communicated from a board with the alphabet printed on it. But by this time, he couldn't even use that. He just looked, grunted, tried leaving you some type of subliminal message, but you didn't even know what was going on, and maybe he didn't either. That was a disaster that taught me to make a decision and not use heroin. And now you have the opportunity to say to yourself that you don't want to make decisions that put you in a position where you're warning kids like yourself to not come to prison like me. You will reap what you sow, and that's true for every area of your life. They asked me to tell you what a man is, so I will tell you. A man is a small piece of dust that God formed and breathed life into. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. It goes on to say, God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. So man is a very good creation of God. And like all created things, you are made for the purpose of the Maker. Think of one thing invented by humans that wasn't created for humans. And so with God, we are men created by him and for him. If you get this wrong, everything you believe about manhood will be wrong. And when that's wrong, you will be in here or some other form of life's correction. And correction is different for everybody. For me, it's realizing that I abandoned my family when they needed me to be a man. You will sit here and realize that your friends, their loyalties to you, are only for the good times. And if you want the love of a woman, it'll only be in your mind. This is a place where if you think being a man is being a gangster, you'll be forced. Okay. All right, 3, 2, 1. That man is a predator, a coward, and a person who has no low that's too low. The soul stuck in here experiences the death of loved ones, friends, but also your relationships with those alive will slowly fade to the point you'll be so lonely that you will wonder if even one person remembers you, and you will fight regularly to keep your hope from dying. Hope that you won't die in here. Hope that if you get out, you will have someone or something waiting on you. Though all these losses are difficult, they are temporary. The real losses is your life all stem from what you believe. If you believe that no one loves or cares about you, that belief will take you down a dark road, a deadly one. The truth is that even if all you have experienced is abuse, misuse, and hatred, you're not alone. Jesus Christ, your Maker, was spit on, mocked, beaten, killed. All his friends left him when he needed him the most. So I encourage you to find the Bible and read about a God who created you and loves what he created. Find out for yourself why he had to die for your wrongs and those who have wronged you. You will find a God who literally died and, according to history, came back to life for us. Jesus said after his resurrection, whosoever believes and is baptized will be saved, but whoever does not believe will be condemned. This is eternal decision making for you, really for everybody. Jesus is either telling you the truth or a lie. And if a man like Jesus makes this claim, and if this claim has eternal consequences, it would be unwise to not look into the reliability of such a person as claim. I speak on this because there's a bigger problem than being on at-risk youth, because we want you to avoid making a train wreck of your life through thoughtless, short-sighted decisions. I would be wrong as a fellow traveler not to warn you of making proper arrangements with your Creator before you meet him. And you will meet him. We're all going to meet him. I used to walk through a cemetery to go to the store, and I couldn't escape the thought that at some point everyone is dead longer than they are alive. So it makes rational sense to prepare for such an obvious long stay. I remember my dad telling me how people spend their whole earthly life planning for retirement, preparing for a short span of time they know is coming, but never take a single thought about where they will spend eternity. It's just my opinion, but it seems that it's worth taking time to at least consider your future and the one with whom we must stand before and give an account of ourselves. I guess I would rather be on good terms with him than bad. Just a thought. Thanks for listening. I hope you got something from it. Be good.